Can you say hard hats, folks? Hard hats, lunch pail, steel toe boots.
Anything short of a championship this year is a failure. Look at this boomer right here.
You've just got so much talent here.
Somebody said we need to apologize for Jalen.
Can I call it John? What are we apologizing for? What did we say? What did we do?
Look at this boomer right here.
Look at this boomer. Which one?
I love how the party, I like the mix, fades right into Sherrod's party.
Sherrod's got a little thing going, yep.
Because we always got a party at the TD Garden.
Yeah.
Always.
Yep.
Well, they always win, so it's always a party.
There you go. There you go. My goodness.
What's Gucci, Sherrod and John?
I don't know. I stopped watching this game at like 3 minutes into the second quarter.
Yeah, me too. They went up 30 and they just never gave it up.
You weren't alone. It's unusual to see a team go up or down 36 points in the first half.
And keep it.
First half. Yeah, and have no significant let up. I don't think the lead ever dipped below like 23, 25 after they went up big like that. That's unusual. That's unusual, not just for the Celtics, but just in a broad sense.
It's unusual to shoot 18% from three too. If you're
the worst part about it, Jimmy, they're that from 3-point range and from the field. Because at one point I think they were down to like 15% from the field. I mean, we're talking damn near cell tax shooting from the field. You know you're having a rough day when your shooting is damn near with the sales tax percentages.
There should be some level of punishment though for performing this poorly. You know what I mean? Is like forget load management.
We're not talking stadium stairs. We're talking like let's get a real punishment.
Relegation.
No, but I mean like
players have to go to the G League for like a week.
All the boomers freaked out about load management. What's worse, if Tatum sat out tonight or literally Utah existing? You know, like that's a lot worse for fans and for the game. Nobody wins here. Like nobody. It would have been
other than
more
the
fun.
Celtics.
It would have been.
And
more
my guy
fun
Lamar Stevens wins. My guy Lamar Stevens did win because he got on the floor.
It'd be more fun to have watched the Celtics bench try to win this one than what transpired tonight, which was lazy ball. But whatever, you're gonna have a few of these.
You're slowly trending towards. It would have been more fun if the Celtics just lost tonight.
If everyone just tore their ACLs, it would have been better tonight.
Oh, God.
That's an old joke. That's an old joke.
That's an old joke. Shut up.
That's an old joke, everybody. Relax.
They're coming for you, John. They're coming.
Shut
up.
They're
coming.
We're just joking.
All of you, shut up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just one of those games. They won. Next. It's Pacers tomorrow. That's the show.
No, but that's what's kind of fun. That's what's fun is I'm not going to spend a second talking about anything that went on tonight because none of it mattered at all. They hit. I mean,
we got a good Drew Holiday game. We got a good Drew Holiday game.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's literally the only thing that I could even sort of kind of but not really like about this from a basketball standpoint.
Yeah, I like driving the lane and the left-handed dunk. Nice little statement from Drew there.
Yeah, right off the bat to start things off. He brought it tonight. You can tell that he watched the show, Sherrod. He watched the show. He saw the chat, kind of hating on him a little bit, and he knew he had to show up tonight. And he had a nice bounce-back game. The Celtics as a whole had a nice bounce-back game. Not that they all needed one, but Drew Holiday certainly, if you had any concerns about health or anything like that, I think he looked pretty active out there. He was quick. Now, again, what good does it do you when it's against a team like Utah compared to a team like OKC? Not much, but it's at least good to see that he's not hurting, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and the thing about this particular game, the Celtics came into this game ranked in the top 3 in both offensive and defensive rating, which is highly unusual for a team to be ranked that high. But the thing about it in this game, they showed why they're ranked that high. I mean, they dominated this thing at both ends of the floor. And, yeah, it's Utah, and you should win, but Utah's been playing a lot better. Utah came in here feeling pretty good that at a minimum they compete, which I thought they would. I didn't think they'd win, but damn, I didn't think they'd get their ass whipped like this, though. I thought they'd play a little bit better than this. Will Hardy's a good coach, but some of his lineup combinations didn't make sense. Like his second unit looked way better in terms of just known talent than his starters. I mean, you've got, John Collins came in from Atlanta coming off the bench. You got Clarkson, 6-man of the year type guy coming off the bench. They have better players on their second unit, and that second unit sucked. First unit sucked. They sucked as a whole. It's a bad game. But give the Celtics credit. They did what teams that are near the top should do. You bring a bad team into our building, we're going to kick your ass. This is what's supposed to happen.
And so I guess we'll say, like, the nice things is you could get bored with this one and let a team crawl back into it. And it didn't happen. The second quarter was as dominating as the first, and the third quarter was as dominating as it needed to be, which just to maintain that distance. And that's basically all you had to do, and you did it. So, I mean, hats off. I just find it disappointing. I find this similar, and you see the Celtics starting to slack, in the third a little bit. But I mean, they also emptied the bench with about 3-4 minutes ago. This felt a little like that. Which one was the Washington game really early in the year when you're like, these guys didn't come at all, like at all. And again, kudos to the Celtics, just hammered away. And that was that, and took care of business. What's funny is at the same time, not funny, but interesting, same exact time, Pacers are putting it on the Hawks as well. And these two teams play tomorrow. The Celtics got, I'm not going to say embarrassed, but they definitely, they were put on notice a little bit. And
humbled.
So have the Bucks too, into that in-season tournament situation when the Pacers just ran them out of the building. They just beat them. They outplayed them. And Celtics put up 70 something in the first half. Pacers put up 78. Celtics kind of like, rest all their starters, pump the brakes. Pacers rest all their starters. They keep going. They put up 150 tonight. That's the third time this year they put up a 150 spot. That's what you have going in tomorrow. This is actually pretty fun. I know this has been Jimmy's team, even though in his mind, he's rooting for like erstwhile Pacers, like his team involved like Sabonis and Turner, and
Turner's
there. But yeah, exactly.
So I'm still affiliated a little bit.
He's still affiliated, but holy crap, man! Like
McConnell
I think
still there.
Halliburton had 10 points. He was like, that's all I need.
This offense is unbelievable. It's like historically good, right? I mean,
that's going to be fun.
That is, and that's the big takeaway. You came out of this game, you got your guys some rest for what's going to be a great weekend series against the Pacers. Indiana is a sneaky good team, man. I mean, they've had their ups and downs this year, but when you start looking at what they're able to do on a night-in, night-out basis, they can score with the best of them. They are the best at doing that. And if you're the Celtics, you're going to be challenged. You're going to be tested. I think there's a different level of respect for Indiana now than there was maybe a month and a half ago from the Celtics. I think they thought Indiana was a pretty good team, but, we're better. And now it's like we can't think we're better. We have to go out and show it, and they're going to get a couple cracks at doing that.
I mean, it's an era. It's an era of offense right now. Go ahead, Jimmy. I'll follow up.
Quick stat. 3 of their last 4 games, the Pacers have scored at least 140 points. Like, that's insane. It's not an accident.
I mean, the top 6 offensive rating seasons, and I know teams start, hot and things cool down. The top 6 offensive rated seasons all time are right now.
Wow.
With the Pacers number 1, with the greatest offensive rating in the history of basketball at 123.4, and the Celtics at 121.7 coming in second. Then the Bucks, Sixers, Thunder, Hawks. Okay, so we're in that era right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy. So you've got teams that put it on there, and then you got boomers like Nick, longing for the days of 96, 94, when the guys played real defense with their elbows.
You got 4 guys that finished the game with 5 fouls each.
Hey, the 90s were fun basketball games too, John. They're just different. Just different.
Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah. They were tougher, Sherrod.
They were tougher. Shout out to Jason Tatum for giving us $5 of his $33 million.
Thank you, Tatum. He said this is a game Sherrod's been asking for, he says, Sherrod.
This is what you're supposed to do, though. Seriously, though. I mean, if this is a team that you're significantly better than, beat the snot out of them Sit your ass.
Oh my
Tatum,
God.
Tatum went to the bench with like 3 minutes left in the third quarter, and there was not a minute where you felt maybe, just maybe, he might have to come back in. Hell no. You're gonna take the sneakers off, get on the bike, ride a little bit, go get a snack, order something from the from the upper area. Just relax. And this is what you're supposed to do against teams like Utah. Loved it.
Let me ask you guys a question. If you haven't closely looked at the Pacers box score, they scored 150 points. How many assists do you think they had tonight?
100.
The Pacers, like 45. 50.
Assists, Jimmy.
I say 45.
50 assists.
Wow.
Jimmy's like 112. No, Jimmy, no.
Quick math. It was quick math. You put me on the spot.
Homeschooling at its finest, baby.
300 assists. Yes, Jimmy. That's what they did.
Orange.
Yeah.
Yeah, they passed the ball a lot.
Wow. Yeah.
How many did Halliburton have?
10 points. Oh, how many assists?
Yeah.
I'm going to go
100.
12.
100. Yeah, that makes sense. That adds up.
I'm going to go 12.
Halliburton had 18 assists in 25 minutes.
He's just feeding the troops.
So
okay.
who contains Halliburton tomorrow, Sherrod?
So that's my question. Okay.
No, it's my question.
I missed. Okay, fine. You asked.
No, I just did.
I missed the OKC game, and if I were here,
Hey, what's up, buddy?
I
We're
would
on
have said,
TV.
"Hey, come on, God report here.
Sherrod, what's up with that guy?
Come on, come on, Mush." Hey, so if I were here, I would have said my favorite part of the OKC game, which I thought the Celtics played fairly well for most of it. I think OKC played extremely well and they shot really well. My favorite part was Tatum finally saying, "That's my guy," and stepping up and guarding SGA at the end. My criticism is, look, I think Holiday's in the same mold as Smart, and this is what got me and Sherrod in trouble when we said, like, hey, those really quick, shifty, straight line attack the basket guards are a little bit tough for guys like that and for guys like Smart who play more physical. Holiday's in the same mold of defender as Marcus Smart. Physical, smart, great positioning, tries to stay in front of you, use the body, terrific instincts, great hands. But guy like SGA ate him up a little bit. And Derek White might have had a little better chance, but he wasn't super successful. I would have liked to see Jaylen Brown say, "That's my guy. I'm the guy who's talking about all defense. I'm priding myself on it. I play on the perimeter too. I'm going to lock this dude up." Okay? I kind of thought that might happen. I thought that, like, when Jaylen had that great Harden shutdown game in the playoffs after Harden went off, I thought you might have had that. I wonder who's the guy to do it to Halliburton here, and I wonder if Jaylen Brown might kind of draw that.
I gotta believe it's going to be Tatum
again.
I think down the stretch, Tatum is going to. Yeah, I think Tatum is slowly understanding that has to be the role of a great player in this era. That I can go out there and get you 30 points every night, but can I defend the best player when Tatum doesn't need to lock him up in the first and second and third quarter? What do you do in the fourth quarter when the game's on the line? Are you going to be that dude to step up and make life tough for him? I think Tatum's going to be that guy. I do. I really do.
I wonder. What do you think? The chat seems to like the Tatum thing.
I think, Tatum was the only guy who really stepped up and got in SGA's way.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's too bad that, maybe he didn't do it a little bit sooner. Jaylen Brown picked up 2 quick fouls in that game. I wouldn't be shocked if he wants another crack at it. Maybe it's a different situation here. But isn't this why they brought in Holiday, John? I understand that he's better against certain guards and the quicker ones and the shiftier ones give him trouble, and he'd rather just use his body and his force. But I'd be surprised if the guards aren't giving it a shot here against Halliburton.
Jimmy, they're all going to get some of that smoke.
Everyone's going to get some. I mean,
they are.
But I think late in the game, though, to me, Tatum, I think, is a better in those half-court sets, moving laterally, getting over screens, than I think Drew is. Drew is a great defender, but Drew, when it comes to quick, shifty guards, that's not his strength. Tatum is better in that regard defensively than Drew Holiday is. And down the stretch, those are that's the matchup that Indiana's going to go to. They're going to look to ISO him. And Tatum, I think, is a better defender in that particular situation than Drew Holiday is. But Jimmy, Drew's going to get some of that. Tatum's going to get some of that.
They're going to be
Jalen, they're all going to get some of that Halliburton smoke. But I think down the stretch, I think we're going to see a little bit more of Tatum on him.
I mean, you also got Turner and Hield are gonna create issues too out there. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I agree. I think it's going to be a committee approach. I mean, Halliburton's the head of the snake here, right? I mean, if he's not scoring, he's passing the ball or the hockey assist, whatever you want to call it. He's involved in practically every single one of their plays. So I think the important thing is to just get in his face. Just make it difficult for him. Be physical. Don't let him run circles around everybody out there. I mean, that's my message to the team is he's too comfortable out there right now. He thinks he's the star of the show, and he is, but he's still Tyrese Halliburton. Like, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he hasn't arrived. He shouldn't feel that he's arrived, even though he kind of has. Put him back in his place a little bit. Be physical, knock him down. I'm not saying play dirty, but don't make it so easy for him to dance around out there and smile for the cameras and all this stuff. That's kind of where I'm at with it. And I think that's where a veteran team, like a guy like Holiday, been there, done that. Like, bring him, bring the smoke a little bit if I'm Holiday. So I like that matchup.
90s boomer ball to
exactly.
It, Jimmy,
bring me back some boom. I don't want to see 140 to 142 tomorrow. I want to see.
You want to see 92-88?
Rough and tumble. I want to see 92-88. I want to see guys fouling out. I want to see 15 rebounds. I want elbows. I want all that stuff. But if you're physical with Halliburton, I think that's going to go a long way in really slowing down the Pacers' offense a little bit. Again, there's a fine line between being dirty and being physical. But I think if you're physical with this Pacers team, I don't think they want to play tough. I think they just want to razzle dazzle and play offense. But if you punch him in the mouth a little bit, make things difficult for him, slow it up, I think that's how you win the game.
Jimmy, I would run through a friggin' wall for you, dude.
Let's go, guys.
Let's effing go. Oh, my God.
Stop letting these guys dance around.
I'm pumped up right now.
This isn't dance class. This is the NBA.
I am pumped up.
Somewhere Rick Mahorn is shedding a tear over what you just said, Jimmy.
That's right. If I'm the Celtics, and this isn't just go for tomorrow, where's the pride in playing defense anymore? John, you're talking about the 6 best offensive teams of all time. The Hawks are 5 games under 500. They might not even make the playoffs. And we're going to sit here and talk about how they're one of the best offensive teams of all time. Where's the pride in playing defense?
Why are you mad at me? They're not the
Hawks
first team in history.
John, this is your fault. This is your fault.
Coach. I'm not their coach.
A team like the Hawks is nowhere near a historically good team. So to act like they're a top 5 offense of all time, like where the hell has defense gone in this league? And it's effort, it's pride, a little bit, Sherrod, but I think there's a lot of pride that needs to be taken on the defensive end. A guy like Jaylen Brown or whoever should look at the matchup and say, he's mine. I want him. And I don't care if I go out there and score 10 points tonight. If I force him to take 30 shots to score 20, then I'm pumped about that. And the Celtics will win that game. If Halliburton has to shoot like that, that's a layup win for them. But they need to want to, and that's, I think, again, maybe Missoula can get through to them on that at front. But I think, I don't want not to bring him up because I know he's coming to town too, but I think Ime was good at making these guys play like assholes and take that asshole mentality.
Here we go, Jimmy. You're starting trouble.
No, I'm not.
You're not giving credit to the coach of the month.
I'm giving him credit. Listen, he deserves credit too. But I think when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, I mean, it's not just a Celtics issue; it's an NBA issue. And you just got to play like assholes more and play harder. And I think Ime was good at that with this team. And I'm not saying Joe isn't, but I think that we can all agree that there's been games where we've all been pretty frustrated with the effort on the defensive end. And it's not a Celtics problem. It's an NBA problem. But I only care about the Celtics.
I'm surprised that
you sound
Joe
a little boomery, but that's okay.
You did. Yeah, and we're gonna move on from your boomerisms. But Joe, I'm a little surprised isn't a little bit more defensive minded when you're coming from the Huggins tree of players that he's coached. Because Bob Huggins, you think about some of the guys that he's coached. Toughness was the one thing that damn near every single one of them had in common. And it was like tangible toughness, not like, oh, he's a really mentally tough guy. No, guys like Kenyon Martin would absolutely put you on your ass and dare you to say
Kenyon
something.
Martin, yeah. Sure.
Kenyon Martin was one of my favorite players in the NBA, not full disclosure. Loved him because that was the one
he was an
guy
asshole.
that you knew. He was. And if you weren't sure if he could come with the smoke, test him and find out. Many have tried, all failed. He will knock you on your ass like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and
they don't have the Celtics. They don't have anyone like that.
they don't have that enforcer. No.
Right, and the league has legislated that stuff out of the game. I mean, basically, think about this. Grant Williams is a really nice guy, but he was kind of their low key enforcer last year, which tells you how legislated that type of role is out of the NBA. It's hard to be an enforcer in this game.
And you know what? That's why these guards are out there dancing around all the time, Sherrod. They can just dance and prance and do whatever the hell they want because there's nobody that's going to check them.
No one is going to check them, and even if you try to get physical with them, you're going to pick up fouls, or you'll pick up a tech, or you'll get tossed.
That's right.
So, yeah, I get it why guys aren't more physical. That doesn't mean you should let your guy score at will. Get a hand in his face.
Right.
Get up in his airspace. There are ways you can still be a defender and
use your fouls up.
I don't give a crap about that.
You got 6 of them.
You got 6 of them, man.
Go ahead, John.
No, just look. Play connected and close out on the threes. Like just do what you got to do defensively. You just can't allow free shooters. You know this, and you got to match their pace. You know,
and you got to slow their pace.
Because
guys,
we don't play to them.
I gotta go.
Okay.
Get that guy on TV. Get this guy on.
Sherrod, oh Jesus, he's mad.
Yeah,
Sherrod doesn't get mad. Whoever out there is messing with Sherrod.
It was that guy who crossed behind him. Yeah. It's like,
I don't like that.
Speaking of checking yourself, Sherrod's about to check that dude.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
John,
you don't know who
I want to go back to one thing that you just said.
Okay.
You said match their pace. It's not on the Celtics to match the Pacers' pace. It's on the Celtics to set the pace. That's the difference. The Celtics need to be the aggressor. They need to come out and set the tone, set the pace, whatever you want to say it. Slow the Pacers down. No pun intended with all this pace talk here. But they have to slow it down. Otherwise, they're going to lose that. They're going to lose that game, Sherrod. John. Sherrod just left us. The Pacers have proven that, again, no pun intended, but when they set the pace, it's hard to keep up. That's why they're outscoring everybody. They're not doing it on the defensive end. They're setting the pace, and they're doing it faster, and they're doing it better than everybody. So slow the pace.
No, I hate that. Don't slow it down. You go slow, they go fast. I hate that.
No. They don't go fast. You slow them down.
No, the way the Celtics let you just defend. Anyway, we'll get to it in a minute. Bobby's going to join us. Josue's going to join us. We're going to tell you briefly about FanDuel. NFL season is winding down. There's only one thing left to do, and that's to put all of your energy into the Patriots losing on Sunday. It's the most important thing that will have happened to this franchise since Brady left. It is really, 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 really important. So, but
it's the most important draft pick since Drew Bledsoe.
Sure. Agree.
Don't sure me. Yeah, I mean, that's a fact.
I was a Rick Myra guy. I'm just kidding. Anyway, if you want to get in on the action here, as the NFL regular season is winding down ahead of the playoffs, and there's going to be a ton of action. FanDuel's offering you this deal right now. First of all, FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL and the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. And if you go to FanDuel.com/Boston, take advantage of this deal when you sign up today. $150 in bonus bets when you place a $5 bet. Before, it was a little trickier. You had to win a $5 money line bet. Those aren't always easy, despite all of the strong advice Jimmy Toscano was giving you. All you got to do, deposit 10, bet 5. Bet? Yep, bet 5. Oh, I got balloons. How did that happen?
What's going on over there?
I didn't do that.
You got balloons because you did the read correctly. You nailed it.
You got balloons. And that's it. 150 bonus bets. That's all you got to do.
It's never been easier. It's literally never been easier, folks. You just make the bet.
In the early days, that's what they had. I just got to tell you, you got to be 21 and present in a state where gambling is legal, and it's a $10 deposit is required. Only a $5 bet. You sign up, deposit 10, bet 5, real money wagers only to start. And if you do that, no matter what, once that bet is settled and the game is over, you get $150 into your account. You can mess around with that and place any kind of bet. Again, these are bonus bets, not actual money, but you can use this to win actual money.
Right.
If you have gambling problems, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com. gamblinghelp.org for any sort of gambling help if you need it. 24/7 support in Massachusetts as well. So make sure you get it to take advantage of that gambling helpline, ma.org. Call 800-327-5050.
I'll give everybody some help for a second. Are you done?
Yeah. What kind of help do you have?
Well, just a little gambling tip for week 17.
Give it to me.
Help. There's a lot of players that are playing for like a production bonus this week. So you got to find out who those players are. There's probably a couple articles floating around out there. And you got to bet the over. Like, let's say player X needs 5 catches to cash in on a $500,000 bonus in his contract. You bet your ass he's going to get those 5 catches. So you got to find those players and bet the overs on those. Now, that's not part of this $5 money line bet, but you could theoretically win the 1 p.m. game $5 money line bet. Maybe you get the 150 in bonus.
No more money line, Jimmy. Come on.
Oh, just any bet.
Yeah, you don't have to win anything. You just got to place it.
Yeah, you just got to bet it. So I thought you still have to bet. Okay, so you bet your $5. Hopefully you win it. Let's just assume you do. Then you take that bonus money and you bet all the player overs for any player that's playing for something. There's a lot of players that are playing for like contract bonuses this week. That's my gambling help. That's my tip line.
Okay, we like it. We like it. This is the question.
I think DeAndre, who's the dude on Tennessee? DeAndre Hopkins. D-Hop.
Hopkins?
I feel like he's like due for a big bonus if he catches a few balls. So I'm gonna bet the over on that dude. He's boom or bust every week.
Okay. I like it. Interesting talk in the chat. People talking about Jonathan Kuminga. I don't know what it would take to get him. I would find him to be very intriguing as somebody who might benefit from a change of scenery. I know he's on the outs there. Also, someone put out there earlier asking the question, who's better? Who's better, Jimmy Toscano or Bobby Manning? And we just said Jimmy, right? We said Jimmy. We didn't even think about it.
Smart. Really smart. Not when it comes to style, though. Look at Bobby; he's always got something. I think he had a sweatband on earlier this week, John.
Did I?
Who?
Bobby. He had some kind of sweatband on the show.
No, I was wearing a hat. You guys always say that, but
it looked like a sweatband from my angle.
What's up, Bobby? Got anything?
Yeah, I love the defense tonight. I'm sure you guys hit on it. It feels like the defense is going.
We actually haven't spent a second talking about the game.
We talked about defense, but not in this game.
It's been a Pacers preview show most of the way, but I'm curious. You're there. You covered it. You talked to the guys. Give us some thoughts on this one before we jump back.
Yeah, right from pregame tonight, I felt like the defense emphasized the defensive emphasis set a tone for this game after what was a pretty lackluster one against Oklahoma City, as Jimmy and I talked about that night. Yes. I like where it's going. 18 turnovers forced on Utah. I felt like many of the misses from the Jazz in this game, and certainly some of the turnovers were unforced. This was just a dreadful effort from that team, but it feels like the Celtics more and more are starting to figure out who they are on that end, what roles they're playing. You saw Drew on the big guys again, whether it was John Collins or Markkanen at times. You saw Porzingis roaming and protecting the rim as he started to do a little bit more. I love the way he did that against Oklahoma in moments. So this is a side of the ball I felt really good about with them all year. But we've talked about the lack of forced turnovers and the lapses in transition and some of the other issues they've had there. They're starting to clean those up a little bit. And I just love, we heard it from the moment training camp started this year, Joe emphasizing defense, talking about it. Still saying that the offense is setting the tone for that end. He really believes that. But also emphasizing their half-court principles, mixing looks, going to some zone again tonight. They have a bunch of different stuff that they can go to on that end. And certainly the personnel this year has really led them to reach a new level. They were third in the league to start this game. I'd have to imagine they'll finish the night at second ahead of Houston.
Sherrod, you might not know it, Bobby, is coming in hot right now.
Sherrod,
Okay?
did you kill him, man?
I know. I was just with them.
Let me see your hands. Is there blood on them?
I'm not going to show you my hands, Jimmy.
Sherrod is coming in hot right now.
I'm trying. I was enjoying listening to Bobby talk because it was just kind of like
soothing.
Yes, it was soothing.
He's not calling you boring, Bobby. He's just saying
not at all.
No, he's
but
not.
Bobby has just got a snippet of my state of existence right now. Sorry, Bobby. I didn't mean to do that.
It's all good.
No,
all right.
It's fine.
Let's go.
We're all together.
Let's go. We're together. So,
okay, we are together. All right, ready? So here's where I'm going to go with it, okay? I was setting this up with my earlier conversation, just in terms of, the Tatum stepping up in that last game guarding SGA, and I thought that was like the signature moment in a game that I thought he played really well after kind of like he felt his way out in the early going. I didn't think he was aggressive enough with some of what he was doing, but then everything else that he did, the offense flowed naturally, and he focused on other aspects of his game with the rebounding and the defense. And that's what we always talked about is the key to Jason Tatum, like hitting that next level is worrying less about scoring and not always trying to win the superstar battle. Mm-hmm. However, I feel like every time this year they've matched up with the hot new thing, you leave that game and everyone's like, oh, is that guy better than Tatum? And I understand it's a natural reaction. You had it with Anthony Edwards when they lost to Minnesota. You have it with SGA and with that last game there. And look, really strong cases can be made for those guys. We debated it ourselves on the thread about where you rank everybody. I actually think they're all pretty jumbled together and super close. And that's not an insult to anybody to take it away. I think there's some really good players. But now you've got Halliburton kind of like nipping at everybody's heels and like, I might be a top 10 friggin' player and I'm here now.
Yeah.
And so here you go again. So now it's like, is it important for Tatum to win the superstar battle, or do you just sit back and rest and not relax, but say like, we're awesome, we're doing this as a team? Like, what kind of happens in this scenario here?
He needs to continue
because every time the other team's guy puts up big numbers, Tatum, right or wrong, people are going to look at him and point at him and be like, well, our guy didn't do that.
He needs to continue to do what he did tonight, which was, yes, hit big shots and score a ton. But also pass. I thought the 3 assists in the first quarter, he could have had 2 at least on top of that. So this is another really strong passing game in a week or 2 here where he's had some much higher assist totals than usual. 8 against Oklahoma City, 10 again in that Pistons game, 7 in the Lakers game on Christmas. So those numbers are starting to tick a little bit higher for him. I've loved his passing. I thought he passed well against the zone in this game. And the defense, the rebounding, we're seeing that alongside his scoring make him impactful. And Joe talked about that tonight, that he doesn't have to be defined by that 3-point shot, that he wants them to take them and be confident in them. But there's other areas of the game where he can impact when that's not there. And I feel like going back to the Ime days, the Celtics coaching staff has talked about that he's just such a well-rounded player that even when his shot's not there on a given night, it shouldn't take him out of the game. And more, I think we're starting to see him, whether it's the 14 free throws tonight, the passing numbers, the defense, certainly in that last game down the stretch. I mean, I'm still amazed by that fourth quarter here in Oklahoma City. There was a play where he missed the ball inside, grabbed his own miss twice, and just slammed it through everybody. So there's other components to his game, and Joe continues to stress this, that he needs to lean on. And it might not get you the accolades, it might not get you the MVP award, but him kind of playing in the muck sometimes, like him being that rugged defender, the guy who's rebounding in crowds, or just even making a timely stop. Those things matter in winning. And he hit his shots tonight, so that made it a spectacular night for him.
And he got to the free throw line.
I felt like he did some other stuff that would have won the game.
Well, the biggest thing in all of this conversation is figuring out what you got to do to help your team win. I mean, Tatum, and I think what we're starting to see is the more you're matching up with the Halliburtons, the Anthony Edwards, the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders of the world, the more your impact defensively in that particular matchup is what you're going to need to do the win. I think Tatum is embracing, not figuring out, but actually embracing the idea that yeah, I can go out there and get 30 points every damn night, but a 30-point game doesn't necessarily mean that was a good game for me. Tatum has to figure out more than anything else how to consistently impact winning. And I think he's doing a good job of that. But if you're looking for like the blueprint on how to do it, this was a game that you have to look at. His ability to, again, get his points, get rebounds, play good defense overall, and do all those things that the great ones are supposed to be able to do. We didn't see that until I thought against Oklahoma City. I thought it felt it was like a little too late when he embraced that need to get on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because I thought
he asked for that, Sherrod.
Right. But I thought it should have happened sooner. I would have liked to have happened sooner. And maybe he was hoping one of his teammates would step to the forefront and take on that challenge while he was getting buckets. That didn't happen. Because there's a couple things that the more I watch this team play, there's two things that really, really stand out to me. One, Tatum needs to be more comfortable and I think more take charge of those matchups, number one. And number two, they really need to continue to lean on Derek White to get them buckets in the clutch, because Derek White right now is their best clutch store. You look at his numbers the last 6, 7, 8 games, the only guy who's making more of an impact in clutch moments of games in terms of scoring is some dude in Denver named Jokic. That's it. That's the guy that he is looking up to in terms of clutch points per game. And that's nothing to sneeze about, because you're going to have more games like that where you're going to have to make plays in close games down the stretch. And you've got a guy in Derek who can get buckets. Yeah. And you've got a guy like Tatum who I think his lateral quickness, his length, he poses a lot of, I think, matchup challenges for the Anthony Edwards, the Halliburtons of the world. And they need to take advantage of that.
And I want to point this out too,
just
John.
an interesting, fun stat. Since you mentioned Jokic, this is not a knock on Tatum, but Tatum missed more shots tonight, taking only 12 field goal attempts than Jokic has in his last 5 games.
But here's the thing, and listen, we've been tough on Tatum all year.
That's
stupid.
Damn.
It's a stupid stat. He's missed 5 shots.
And I do.
He's 39 for 44.
I do want to get Tatum credit for this, because we've been tough on him all year.
Just silly season.
Damn.
And deservedly so. But you look at the defense for him this year. In isolation, he's given a .61 points per possession to opponents. That's in the 88th percentile. So as far as isolation defense goes, he's up there with anybody in the league right now. You're talking about some of the best perimeter defenders in the league right now. He's in that conversation, and he has the length. He has the mobility. We've seen him embrace that challenge against Kevin Durant in the playoffs 2 years ago. And you mentioned some of the individual star players he might go up against. I get it during the regular season, John. You're not going to go all out guarding Jimmy Butler all game, or Halliburton in this mini series here.
And you shouldn't.
But when the moment comes for you to close out a game, his ability to defend those type of guys should come into play. And if it comes down to him having to be the guy to volunteer that matchup, he's going to have to do it more consistently, especially in big spots. I mean, I don't think we've seen him enter the highest level of defense we can see from him consistently throughout this year. And when he reaches that, you're blown away by how good he can be. And he doesn't get credit for that. Like, you see some of the stars in the league and guys that you're debating who could be over him, John, they can't defend like that. And that matters in terms of how I view the best players in the league. So that's always been, I think, a very underrated thing with him, is just how many different areas of the game he can touch. And defense in particular, I think people don't talk about enough with him. He's one of the best defenders in the league.
Well,
so
let me say
he is. And Bobby, and again, I agree. Like, there's two anybody's obsessed with this at all. And Jimmy, sorry, I'll let you jump back in. But anybody who's obsessed with the MVP stuff at all, Tatum's got 2 paths to it. Scoring 34 points on a team that has fewer players, around 34 points, doing the Embiid. I got one other guy on my team. I'm going to put up 33 a night. We're going to finish top 2 or 3 in the conference. I'm going to lead the league in scoring. I'm going to win the MVP based off of that. Or he does the 25, 8, and 6 with second team all defensive on by far the best team in the league. He can do that this year. Like, you could do that right now. Like, that's the next evolution. And it's through the other thing. Take enjoy not having the burden of being the only one who can score. It should be liberating. Once you free your mind completely of that, which he does a lot of the time, and like I'm going to affect the game other ways, is the best version of him by far. So that's what it'll come down to. But you're right. Like the stats might suffer on a team this talented. It's supposed to. This team should not have a 30-point scorer with all of the offensive options. If you do, you're doing it wrong. Right?
And you can tell they're trying to break
have,
them out of that mindset, emphasizing that you might not have scored great tonight, but you
don't need to.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
So I love how Joe's pressing that with him. And we've talked about Joe in the past, not getting on these guys enough, not criticizing them enough. But I feel like if that's his way of doing it, we talked about Jalen with the potential assist earlier in the year. He wasn't criticizing Jalen's playmaking. He was reinforcing when he did good things. And I think it's a similar approach here with Jason's other skill sets outside of his scoring. And listen, we knew the shooting was becoming a problem for a while there. It's starting to pick up a little bit, it feels like here. I know you didn't love the shot selection, John, tonight again, even though they went in. But
I just hate when they go in. I hate when those pull-up threes go in. I hate it.
But on a night where you get...
Because you know what I hate about it?
What?
Go ahead.
No, what do you hate about it?
On a night where you get 14...
what do you hate about
multiple things. The obvious thing, which is, it's going to encourage them to do it more, even though statistically over the course of 2 years, it's proven that you're among the worst, if not the worst volume shooter in the NBA at those pull-ups. It's not an effective shot. But two, when Twitter lights up and is like, oh, Tatum's unstoppable when he does that. I know, great, but it just do the math, guys. You hump numbers all day long to make points and prove that you know ball, and you're going to celebrate a guy doing something that he's ineffective at when it goes in. I would rather the process be the getting to the line and working for the bucket. He's got to take some of those shots. No question about it. You got to keep the defense honest. Even if he's not shooting it great, that's got to be in his bag. It's just the shot profile that we criticize this year. The number went up like 1.5 or almost 2 extra pull-ups per game while still shooting close to 29-30% on them. It's just not the right balance in your shot profile, especially when you don't need to do it when people aren't doubling you and blitzing you as much and you have to, pull up and do those fadeaways. You can go to work. He can do that. So there's just not a need for it. That's all we're saying. So when they go in, it's like, now he's going to get back into that. And, I want to see fewer of those attempted. That's all.
Yeah, he had 2 of those going tonight. One he got fouled on and still hit it. But for me, when it comes to Tatum, and John, you kind of stole a little bit of my thunder because I was going to say it's the shot selection that he takes sometimes that for me, in my opinion, that's preventing him from creeping up a little bit higher on that list. I mean, even if instead of pull-up threes, if he just did more catch and shoot threes, that's where he's great at. I mean, I think he's shooting 45% on catch and shoot threes. So I don't know if that's him. I don't know if that's coaching. Do guys need to get him involved? Does he need to be coming around more screens? Like, do they need to be looking for him off of different plays?
I definitely think his corner 3 attempts can go up, Jimmy. I think he has like 17 or something like that all year.
So that could be one thing too. But instead, it's like it's the shots that they went in tonight, but it's those ones where he's on the elbow at the top of the 3-point line. There's a guy in his face. He steps back and he shoots a 3. And yeah, 2 of them that I can recall went in. I did see him miss one pretty badly as well. But I think the catch and shoot threes are one way he can improve that 3-point percentage. And the other thing is, and somebody in the chat mentioned it, he just needs to drive more. I will say that it does look like he has definitely improved his driving abilities and his moves to the basket. He can kind of get there in 2 steps practically, when he's in motion, and he's quick on the little spins, and he's got great footwork, but he just doesn't do it enough. You're bugging. My game was 12 jumpers at the park, and I spoke fools. He just doesn't do it enough. When he does, it seems like he gets good results. He'll either make it or he'll get fouled on more times than he doesn't. But he's not doing it as much as he should be. And again, settling for those pull-up threes is the problem I have. And then on the other end,
but he didn't tonight. He took, just in fairness, he took it to the basket. He got to the free throw line a lot. He just hit a couple. It's just every time they go in, I'm like, the next 5 shots are going to be that.
225. So that's That's part of it. Is he has the body to go inside now, and
Right, he's bigger. He's put on muscle. He's worked on his low post and his his moves to the basket. Like
I feel like we're not seeing him post as
kind of
much
in his
recently.
bag a little bit.
Yeah,
No, I agree.
And he had enormous success with that early in the season.
I love the post.
So.
And the numbers are there too. That's exactly it. Is like lean into the you don't have to be a slave to the numbers. Just but acknowledge what's going on. Like they're a dominant post up team right now across the board. Obviously, Porzingis lifts that up, but Tatum's numbers in the post have been outstanding.
But one thing I will say is they do seem
to
be playing a little bit faster, and that's obviously something Joe's emphasized recently too. Tatum starting to get involved in that flow too.
Totally.
In a game like this, 30 points in 3 quarters, you got to be playing fast to do that. So I like where he's at right now. We've had concerns with him going back to last month.
I liked last game. I like this game.
Yeah,
I like both.
He had a really excellent game tonight. I thought it was one of his best all year. So good to see that from him. I feel like Brown, he's in a decent place too, coming off a good December here, and they got Drew going tonight as well. And Porzingis, it's like every night he's on at this point. So they're having everybody involved night to night, more or less here, which is important.
You also have Coach of the Month, Joe Mazzulla, who talked about that honor today in a nice back and forth with his good pal, Gary Washburn. We're going to listen to that.
Does that mean anything to you? Do you get a plaque, a certificate?
Plaque.
Like, what do you get for that? And
does it mean something to me? I would
mean?
probably say, in the past, I probably would have said no, but I think it's a testament to what we're building and what we're creating. And so it's a testament to the staff. I wish they would change it to staff of the month because I'm not doing it by myself. I'm not the one controlling the scouts. I'm not the one making the edits. I'm not the one, doing the matchups during the game or coming up with lineup suggestions. So that's the entire staff. And then if the players don't let me coach them, then I'm not really a good coach. So, I think it's just a testament to the environment that we're creating. And so, yeah, it does mean something to me because it shows what we're doing is paying off.
Joe,
I do think they should get rid of the award.
Think they should get rid of it?
Yes. Or change it to staff of the month.
Staff of the month.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Clarify, staff of the month.
That's a good, humble answer for Joe. He might want to start to acknowledge that he does have some role here.
See, they do this and they do that and they do this, and the players let me coach them, and it's like,
it's like Joe, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
so what do you do here exactly?
I try not to completely publicize the fact that Amit does everything here, but
yeah,
but he does.
We know that.
We know that.
So what you're saying is Sam Cassell
I gotta pretend I'm like, do this.
Joe,
well, nice job.
Yeah, Joe's got a point though. He has a point. There's a lot of folks that play a role in how these teams play, particularly really well-run, successful teams. And Joe, I think it's a great idea to figure out a way to, give them a little bit of love too. But man, let me know what you do when you're going down all the things that your staff does. Give me a little insight into what you do specifically. If you're going to be specific about it.
Here, yeah.
But he deserved it. He had a great month, and the Celtics had a great month. And the thing about it that the only pushback I'd have to something like that is at the end of the day, when your team is doing well, you, the head coach, are going to get credit for that. And when your team is crap in the bed, guess what? You're going to get blamed for that. Your staff isn't going to catch that. So to me, that's the double-edged sword with the coach of the month and coach of the year and all that type of stuff. It's great when it's working out for you, but if things aren't going well with your team, guess who's catching those strays? You, the head coach.
And that's the smart tactic by kind of, pushing off the credit is you take the credit, you take the blame as well. The thing is with the coach is like, again, the whether or not Joe's the guy for the team or not, it's just the lowest hanging fruit of all kind of sports criticism. And, just what I think everything you're going to lean into when things aren't going right, fix it. It's like, in America, like it's the president, whoever's the president is responsible for everything going on in your life.
Thanks, Obama.
Fix it. Yeah, thanks, Obama. Doesn't matter. It's the same thing. It's like, Joe, do something, So, like, he's going to catch crap for it. I always think it's like almost like with a referee. The best thing about a coach, you want to not notice them. It's
Yeah.
just that things just happened and it seemed normal, and you didn't do anything really to mess it up or to make
Right.
yourself the story, especially in basketball. In a sport like football, it's a little bit different because game planning and tactics are so much more involved here. But again, Bobby, you've talked with Joe, you've watched the games. I mean, he lets them play. He has his philosophies and he has the thing that he pushes on. And
He has a
obviously there's a
structure.
lot that goes into it. It's a structure, but then he trusts them to go out and kind of do it. This notion that Joe's going to be able to, like a puppeteer, be able to pull all of these strings and like keep them from going off the rails at times. I don't know. I always think it's a little bit too much blame when it goes bad in these situations. So again, hat tip to Joe and the Celtics for having a great month. I think it's deserved.
They become the scapegoat when things go bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and from the start of his tenure, I feel like he's implemented things to make the offensive reads easier for guys and limit the turnovers and some of the other issues that they've had. So he has had an impact, and he did seem to have a pretty keen awareness of what was wrong with the team's offense, even going back to that Ime year where offensive execution was still a massive problem that year. So I've loved the job he's done this year. I love the emphases he's making and even some of the adjustments and tactics he's gone to. Like last game, he went to Pritchard over Holiday late and had pretty good results there. So I think there are times this year where you look to him as being a positive contributor to what they're doing right now, beyond his steady leadership and the buy-in he's getting from these guys. I mean, across the board, isn't that the number one thing, John? If we're going to talk about what coaches do well and poorly, it's buy-in. And he seems to have top to bottom
100%
buy-in from this group right
That's
now.
what-
And these are a lot of stars and guys who have, had big egos and big roles and stuff. That was a question for us coming into this year, was how he was going to handle that. And it happened seamlessly.
It's buy-in, or on the opposite end of it, mutiny.
Yep.
Like that's what you're number one thing you're afraid of is when everybody teams up
And
against
it
you.
did seem like he struggled with that a little bit last year at times.
And like when they start to second guess, when the players are, kind of seem to be running the ship, running the ship a little bit more than you are.
Joe's been getting killed, and rightfully so.
People aren't listening to you. Right. Exactly. People aren't listening to you in timeouts. They come out of it and be like, nah, screw it. We're going to do our own thing. Yeah. Yeah. He's been getting killed, and rightfully so. Yeah.
And traded.
That was funny. But yeah, a couple other things we'll get into before we wrap it. We had
what about Pacers? Are we gonna talk Pacers again or no?
I thought
Bobby,
we did like
Bobby
40
didn't
minutes
say
on
boo
it.
about Pacers yet. Bobby, I have a question for you.
Does he have to?
Yeah, I have a question for Bobby.
Okay.
Because you said something earlier. You mentioned how the Celtics have been playing really faster recently, and that's been by design. Missoula's been trying to get them to play faster. Now they're playing a team in the Pacers who play faster than everybody. So how do you approach?
Jimmy wants to slow it
game?
down.
John, you just ruined my question. I couldn't even
wants
get
to
my
slow it
question
down.
in. How do you approach
Lock it up.
How do you approach
have to
tomorrow's
lock
game,
the
Bobby?
ball
Do
up.
you try to outpace them, or
No,
do you
you
try
can't.
to stay?
I shove it down their
of the ball.
throats.
Thank you, Bobby. I don't think you can either. So I'm going the opposite side. I think you try to slow them down instead of speed.
Do the
yourself
Celtics?
up.
Let me ask you this question. for
John,
real.
no. I already asked the question.
No, but I'm asking you.
Asked the question.
Do the Celtics
No, you're
play better
asking
when
me.
they play?
You don't answer my question with a question.
Do the Celtics play better when they play fast or slow?
It depends.
Really?
Who are they
I
playing?
think against a team like the Pacers, you're able to more easily find mismatches in the half court, so you don't have to play as fast to avoid.
I hate when we
switching
hunt.
on the
I
other
hate
side.
when they hunt mismatches. I hate the mismatch game.
You hate everything.
No,
I think
like
that's the
them to
game
play
against
fast.
the Pacers. And then of
Play
course, there's
fast.
other
Play
teams.
fast. Defend well.
Sure,
Yeah, no,
if it was that
against-
simple, you just do that every game. Why not?
Yeah,
But it doesn't work that way.
as
And
Jimmy
the Pacers
said,
play faster than you.
if
And they've
this
scored
becomes
140 plus points the last 3 out of the last 4 games. Regurgitate my big stat from earlier in the show.
if this becomes a track meet, Jimmy, it plays into their favor. And different
Thank
guys
you,
have
I
talked
agree.
about playing to the opponent's style, and that's what they did in Oklahoma City. I felt like, and that's the fastest team in the NBA statistically. So that didn't work well there. It looked like it went better when they slowed down late and executed in the half court, particularly getting the ball to Porzingis. And I don't know if he's going to play tomorrow. I'd have to guess no. but they're going to miss him if they don't, because when they play slow, they need that ultimate mismatch, John, because, you're going to have the Tatums and Browns against smaller guys, and that might go one way or another. But this year, statistically,
Okay, look, the last
Porzingis
bunch
is
of
$5,
games,
away
by the
from
way.
guys.
That's my
last
$5. I'm not sharing that.
the last bunch of games the Pacers have lost, teams have scored 117, 116, 151, 127,
Thank you, Pace
137, 140. What? Okay, so
Okay.
they're not doing that by walking the ball up the floor.
But
No.
you're taking my point and you're making who, the Celtics?
No, the Pacers.
Yeah, they're not. No,
When
they're
they
Time
lose,
to
it's
slow
when
it into
another-
a crawl, John.
When they lose, it's when other teams just friggin' okay, and I'm just gonna do it to you, but I'm gonna do it better, and I'm gonna slow you down. I'm gonna stop you, or I'm gonna keep you from doing what you're doing, but I'm coming at you.
So you want to
Teams are-
run with them.
You're not going to play slow on offense and allow them to play fast. It just doesn't make sense. Like, you're going to have to play with some pace there. You're going to completely change your game around just because the Pacers score a lot of points. I don't fully understand that. I think you're going to play how you're going to play, but you're not going to sit here and try to slow
You're
the
not
game
gonna
to a
take-
crawl.
You're not going to take 30 less shots than them. That's not what we're saying. I think
Yeah.
on the defensive end is where this game is going. On the Celtics side, on the defensive end is where they're going to have to slow the Pacers down. I'm not saying on the offensive end they should slow things down to see if the Pacers will mimic them. That's not what's going to happen. But on the defensive end, they need to, whether that means more press, which we've seen them do this year, and they've had some success doing it. But whatever it is, they need to slow the Pacers down. They can't get into a track meet, John. It's not going to end well for them. It hasn't ended well for a majority of the teams who have tried to get in a track meet with this Pacers team. Here's the thing. The Pacers don't want to play defense. They don't want to play tough. They're not a tough team. They want to dance. They want to dance and prance, Bobby. And Halliburton has got the dance floor, and everyone's just watching him.
Look at how the Lakers beat them in that tournament.
Not here to
final.
salsa tomorrow, Sherrod.
And you've got no Porzingis tomorrow.
That sucks. So that's going to change things.
But you got to remember something, guys, though. I mean, and Jimmy, you touched on it, and I think it speaks to why you have to play with a certain amount of pace. That's probably going to be a little bit faster than you normally do, but certainly not at the breakneck speed that they play at. They don't defend. And and not only do they not defend, they foul the hell out of you all the time. They're second in the league in opponent free throw attempts per game. So you're going to get a chance to play with tempo, and you're going to be able to slow it down because you're going to keep your ass on the free throw line.
Well,
so
just make shots and get to the free throw line.
That's all you gotta
Another
do.
way to slow it down,
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
They
And
didn't
those
get
are two
to the
things that
line
you do
last
well.
game.
No,
Last time they
didn't.
played, the Celtics didn't get to the line. That was very frustrating.
And unexpected. I thought they'd get there a little bit more than they did. Yeah.
No, Porzingis is
Trapped
not going to play
Halliburton.
tomorrow.
Why are you so sure?
Because he hasn't been playing back-to-backs.
But that's now
Last
you're assuming
three
that
he's
he's
missed.
just Al Horford.
He's missed the last
Yeah.
three. I think they sat Horford tonight to have a big tomorrow. They finally did it
Yeah,
right.
right.
They
Fine.
finally sat a big on the front end of a back-to-back instead of going into tomorrow with neither Porzingis or Horford.
They could have rested
So
them both tonight.
They could have rested them both. I also find it curious that you wouldn't want Porzingis for both Pacers games, but you are going to have Horford for both Pacers games. What do you think? Why do you think that is? Because the Monday game, you'll have everybody back. But in the back-to-back here, Horford sat tonight. Porzingis is probably sitting tomorrow. Maybe he doesn't because of the reduced minutes tonight, but I think that was the plan when they sat Horford on the front end of a back-to-back, because for 2 years, he sat the second of a back-to-back the whole way through. So this felt, and he was out with rest tonight, not an injury. This was a decision.
I have no idea why
rest
you
him.
wouldn't save Porzingis for the Pacers.
Yeah.
Because you got to get them to the finish line healthy, Jimmy. That's the most important thing. If they lose this
I
game,
mean,
it's not
instead of
the end of the
tonight.
world. Oh, the timing. I mean, it might be a medical reason.
But do you want to go small? You think Al runs better? You want to go small a little? You want to play a little more small ball against the Pacers? And again, that's
Could be
the
the case.
opposite of playing big and in his half court, setting them up and posting up KP and this and that and trying to beat them in the half court at their own game. They made a decision that they don't want that style because they're going to sit Porzingis tomorrow and play, both the bigs on Monday. So I wonder why that is.
It could be part of what Jimmy was saying earlier about just Jimmy wants more physicality. And Al, let's just be honest, is a more physical player than Porzingis. So he gives you that dynamic, and you get a 2-game set where you've got your more physical big available, and then you've got your more finesse big available. So you get to see which works better against them. And you do it in the regular season when the game, it matters, but it doesn't matter like a playoff game would matter. So it kind of makes sense why you want to split them up a little bit.
I think tomorrow's going to be a feisty game. That's my.
I hope so. Both teams will be rested, coming off big wins.
It's going to be sparky.
It's going
to be sparky.
I like that.
Yeah, it's going to be sparky.
We might see some
Saturday
text.
night.
Yeah. We might
Saturday
see some text.
night fireworks. Yeah, some text.
Couple players with 4 or 5 fouls.
Maybe a flagrant. Maybe a flagrant. Nothing.
Little F1. Little flagrant 1 action.
Yeah, flagrant 1.
Okay.
You know,
I'm down.
This is a tough matchup, certainly. I think these are the kind of teams that have given this Celtics team the most trouble so far. But the biggest thing, as I started off, John, the defense. Get back. Avoid those transition buckets by the Pacers. And in the half court, I thought the Lakers had enormous success trapping Halliburton and forcing him off the ball. I think that's something you're going to have to do here. And it goes back to the aggression of this defensive scheme. We don't see the Celtics do that a ton. They didn't want to do that in that last game, and I think it cost them.
Mm-hmm. All right, tomorrow, 98-92, old school, 90s style game.
I'd love to be in Indy tomorrow.
Grind it to a halt. Grind it to a halt and play physical. That's what we're looking for tomorrow.
I will come on this show tomorrow with the biggest horn, tooting it the whole show. I'll just be tooting the whole show. 92-87, couple of foul outs, yeah. But I will make a point to come on if that happens. Couple of guys, getting at it.
Yeah, I love it.
The field house is Indy's a tough place to win.
It is. It's a good environment for a basketball game. It really is.
This would be one of their best. This would be one of their best wins of the year tomorrow if they can pull it off. It would be a tough one, but it would be one of their best ones.
Well, you got to
Next,
factor
John.
you may not have a Porzingis, so I'm not sure.
I know
that might make it better. Yeah, depends.
Yeah. Well, they lost in
Ahmed, you got anything for us sound-wise coming in?
They lost in OKC. Ahmed, he's asleep at the wheel, I think.
What happened?
He's asleep at the wheel.
No. Are you kidding? He's doing like 7 jobs right now.
Never asleep at the wheel.
No.
We got video here. Why don't you play the Stevens one? Let's talk about that.
Well, we can talk about it briefly. There's not much there, but a lot of people talking about what we think can happen at the trade deadline. Here's Brad Stevens talking about. Bobby was down. I always want to say Waltham. Bobby was down at Arback Center for practice on Thursday. Right, Thursday. In Brighton. And Brad Stevens kind of did a, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while, I'll talk to you sort of thing. And talked a little bit about what the Celtics may or may not be able to do at the trade deadline. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll hear from Brad, and then Bobby's going to explain everything that the Celtics can and can't do coming up.
To do whatever we need to do, for sure, in that TPE. That's really the number one tool we have, right, is the ability to add somebody, but that's 6.1 or 6.2 million, right? So it's a small number of people. A lot of the people that are in that were signed to minimums or smaller contracts or are on their rookie scale deals that teams aren't exactly excited to move on from yet. So it's a very small group of people. But we're going to exhaust it. We're going to look at it. And again, I think it's about, okay, who can come in, have the self-awareness to add to the group and the talent to add to the group. I think that one of the strengths of our team is, guys like Derek White, guys like Drew Holiday. They just are so comfortable in who they are. They don't always use a ton of possessions, but the ones they use are unbelievable. And every day they're positive, and every day they lift the group. And I just think that when you start talking about finding guys that complement all of our best players, it's a small group, We just got to keep on the lookout for it.
Hey,
Josue. Also want to add that Brad Stevens said among their biggest needs are a wing, which we've thought has been a big need for this team for a couple of years now, but they keep finding talent at the guard positions, and obviously they bring in Porzingis. No one's going to be like, no, wait a second, I wanted a wing, but they still need to kind of address that. You have Hauser coming in. Stevens said that guy could be in house, so it still looks like, you know, a game of Survivor between, you know, Stevens and Brissett and
The stay ready crew.
The stay ready crew for that kind of those wing minutes. And Brissett was the first guy off the bench tonight, and again, someone who, because of his energy and rebounding and some defense, might be, I don't know if he's got an inside track, but he might be somebody considered. But Josue, we were going to talk a little bit about the Stevens stuff, but you're coming out of the locker room. You got anything to add to the party here?
Just a lot of the common theme, which I think will be something we'll be discussing tomorrow night after this Pacers game. It's a common theme about correcting the mistakes against the same opponent, right? And I feel like a lot of the questions today were about what happened against the Utah Jazz, and particularly with Jason Tatum. Now, Jason Tatum, of course, asked about what changed between the last time when he was limited to poor shooting night, couldn't get to the free throw line, just all kinds of distractions. And a lot of it had to do with just, reading opposing defenses, knowing how to make changes, and in a nutshell, just continuing to improve. And that's something I've always considered, something that we forget about when it comes to Jason Tatum. I feel like we forget that Tatum, like he's that kind of player who has that memory as to what happened last time. It's very rare you'll see him make the same mistake twice against the same team, and of course, like with the way the schedule's been lately, you're having a lot of these back-to-backs, even though there's a day in between, like you're staying in Indiana later on, they have a similar, back-to-back against the Atlanta Hawks down the season. And I feel like that's great for this team because they're able to correct their mistakes. So a lot of that was brought up. Joe Mazzulla, I don't know if you guys talked about it, but talked about Coach of the Year. He feels like it should be changed to Staff of the Year or just get rid of the award altogether. And I just think it's all goes into what the theme has been all season. We all play for each other. Yeah, personal accolades are great. And addressing the all-star situation, saying all five of these guys deserve to make it. Jason Tatum asked about how Kristaps Porzingis is, I believe, 8th in the front court in voting, and he thought that obviously he doesn't agree with that, so he endorsed him as well. So I just think that's a common theme with these guys. So I can't wait to see what they look like, what their approach would be against the Indiana Pacers, because you're wondering how they're going to, well, at least not wondering, but you want to see them correct those mistakes that we saw last time. The reason why they didn't.
And slow it down, right?
Right. Slow it down and
slow it down.
Got him.
Defense, play hard.
Yeah, like remember why they didn't go to Vegas. I think that's something.
I want to go.
That's something.
Why they didn't go to Vegas?
Yeah, I mean,
they didn't go to Vegas because Porzingis didn't play in that game, and he's not going to play tomorrow either.
We'll save it.
I like that for this team though, because they can beat the Pacers without Porzingis, and it's another challenge for these guys. Not to say that they're going to get bored out there, but I mean, this schedule right now is not easy. The stretch that they're on right now, what is it, 4 games in 5 days or something like that, and I just think
I love the 2 games also.
Me too.
That they played twice.
And I love this type of win because obviously the stars were on the bench for most of the fourth quarter. That's what you're supposed to do when you're as Tatum said today, the best team in the NBA. So they have to carry that. They got to carry that mentality into Indiana.
To build on that team dynamic, Josue, pivoting to Brad's comments yesterday. One of the big things Brad stressed beyond their limitations money-wise and the TP's total at $6 million, he narrowed the field of guys that they could acquire here even further by saying it has to be someone who's over themselves, who doesn't have that expectation that they're going to play. He said this in the past too, John. Someone who adds to the team but doesn't take away from it. It can be a talented player either way. But if it's someone coming in looking for a contract or trying to get shots or trying to get minutes, even if that player is available and talented, it might mess with the dynamic they already have here. Even on the bench where it might not be the most talented group of players, but they're playing roles and complementing the best players on the team. So that's something he's looking for. He's not sure will necessarily be out there. And I do think...
Yeah. Kelly Olynyk, anybody?
I do think it's probably going to be a smaller addition than that. Although we did talk to him this morning, and he did sound interested in a return.
Kelly, listen, I talked to Kelly before the game tonight.
Of course he's interested. Go ahead, Sherrod. Sorry.
Well, no, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, Kelly went out the way we all would want to go out. His last game as a Celtic, he dropped like 27-28 against Washington.
When you call it the Kelly Olynyk game, like there's
for real.
The other thing,
7 years later,
right? But the other thing too, he's having a career year. When you look at his shooting, and you look at his passing, you look at a lot of the metrics that we determine whether a guy is having a good season. He's having the best season that he's ever had. And then I asked him about that, and he said that basically when you've been in the league for a while, you kind of figure out what you need to do and the role that you need to play. And he's like, if I'm coming off the bench, I'm going to do this. If I'm starting, I'm going to do that, and just get in where I fit in, basically. And that's what he's doing in Utah. So Kelly would, I mean, he'd be good with coming back to Boston.
That should be very
Can I tell
obvious.
you guys exactly? Can I tell you exactly how Olynyk would play out if he came back here? It would be on a different scale. It would be the exact Enes Kanter versus Tristan Thompson conversation we had back then, which is one can only have one. Between Kelly and Al, one can only play offense, and the other one's really good defensively. And like, Kelly would go in there and he'd have games and he'd score a bunch of points, but then the other team would score and Bobby would be like, "You can't play this guy. You can't play him.
Yeah.
You can't play
Look how many points he's giving up. You can't play this guy."
Especially after a couple years in Utah and Detroit.
Bobby,
that's how the rest.
We should grab some of the best clips from that season, man. That was fun. That was great.
Bobby, would you trade for Olynyk?
The freedom years, and that's freedom years.
No, I don't think you can. You'd have to give up Pritchard. You'd have to give up one of the or multiple of the bench guys who are central to the rotation here. So it'd have to be a guy that would change the rotation substantially. And I don't think that's who Olynyk is, even though I like his game.
That's a lot of pressure for Kelly,
Yeah, and he's an expiring contract. You'd have to sign him after the year. He's at 12.2, so he's not a TPE guy. You could get him on a buyout. He does come in under the number, barely, that the Celtics.
It's the buyout.
That's the only way.
It's not the
That's
trade.
the only way it'll happen.
Yeah.
And you have to think this would be at the top.
You can't trade it.
You'd have to think this would be at the top of his list. So he said this morning he's heard the rumors. I'm sure he's thought about the possibility that he could be moved here. There's another bottoming out season for Utah here, and
he's got Woj notification. Sorry,
Will Hardy continues to describe as a rebuild here, so he might not fit into that. He's coming off the bench tonight, of course, as well. They have Walker Kessler in front of him, so it's intriguing. I was intrigued by it last year too, and now you're down another big after losing Grant Williams here, so he would fit that role to some degree, but I wouldn't give up Pritchard for him. I think it'd have to be that buyout route.
What about Luke?
The question everyone's wanting to ask.
Come on, Bobby. And that's specifically for you, Bobby. That's for you, Bobby.
It's just you're not.
Sure, right. It'd be Luke plus Brissett plus.
I know. You're not, Bobby. I know you'd have to add some other pieces to the pie. I get that, but
he's trying to make it easy on himself, Sherrod.
If one of those pieces had to be Luke, would you be okay with that? If he had to be part of the package to get Kelly?
No, I don't think you overturn this bench. It's been a really good bench this year. It really has.
Tangway him.
I get it, Bobby. I get it. I get it.
You have to trade the whole bench.
Yeah, you'd have to get.
Which is fine.
This is a team.
Which is fine because what you're looking for is your number 8 guy. You know what I mean? That's it. You're not looking for anything else.
But you'd probably be down to 8 players.
Right. But then, I mean, look, aren't all of these guys the same guy? Have you ever seen Brissett and Banton in a room together? I haven't. I think they might be the same dude. Like, they just switch jerseys and do the hair. Like there might be some
I just
guy.
can't.
They're all interchangeable. They're
But
interchangeable.
is this the guy, John?
It's the Stay Ready group. It's the Stay Ready crew.
No.
I just don't see. But I don't see a team saying, "Okay, give me all those pieces." Screw it. Yeah. Take this.
Does Danny really want
you buy
that?
them all out.
Yeah.
You buy them all out and they all
especially
leave.
Danny. But
yeah.
It really
Danny
only works if you want to get a contract off the books for next year. But like, the buyout is more likely where it comes. But really, whether it's Olynyk or someone else, you're really just trying to get your number 8 guy. That's about it. Because right now you feel pretty good about your rotation at 6. and then you feel okay with Pritchard and Hauser. So you're talking about your 8 or your 9. And really where you want it in there is probably at the wing, because you're comfortable with Luke as a third center, and you're pretty comfortable. Yeah, he's not. So, I mean, I know, and Brad talked about that, but I think people hoping that there's going to be some magic in there might be a little disappointed. I want to wrap before we go and talk quickly again back to the Pacers thing. I know the Pacers are like super impressive, and they're fun as hell to watch. And they're establishing some good rivalries out there with like the Bucks, and they put up another 150 tonight. Does this at all feel to you guys a little bit like Orlando, where, okay, guys, you got us, and you think you're something? We're going to show you a thing or two, because that's what they did to Orlando when they played the back-to-backs with them, coming off a win where they weren't too happy and there was a little bit of chirping. I think there's a lot of Pacers buzz right now that if I'm the Celtics or I'm the people in that room right now, I want to shut it up.
Exactly.
And the Pacers in Orlando hasn't been the same since.
Right. And especially because, again, and I think this is the characteristic of this team. You're taking that last loss personally. It's not just about Vegas. Obviously it's just a competitive thing, and I think that's something I've noticed a lot from Tatum. Especially when he has those bounce back games against that same team, that same opponent. He has that memory, that knack to show them that, hey, yeah, you got me last time, but that's not going to happen again. And I think that stuff is contagious. I think that travels through the locker room.
It goes back to what I was saying, John. I agree with you. I do think the Pacers are a better team than Orlando, so that's the difference. Is they're going to be a harder team to sort of shut up or take down a peg or two. But the Pacers are the belle of the ball right now, and that's why they've been dancing all around. And it's time for the Celtics to shut the music off. It's time. Now it's going to be hard going into it's going to be hard for Indiana to do that in Indiana, but again, it's all about. I think it's all about taking pride in playing tough on that defensive side of things and playing hard, play physical. They don't want to play defense. They don't. Make them play defense. Make it a defensive game.
Bell of the ball, play hard defense.
Bell of the ball.
Jimmy's
Sean, you ever heard that line before? Yeah, what is
Jimmy's in full boomer mode today.
Yeah, I'm 100 years old though.
I'm trying to say something that you guys will understand, John and Sherrod.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I was about to give you a compliment.
Oh, man. No, he doesn't handle us out of logic.
Not today.
Anyway, they have taken down the Bucks 3 times. They have defeated the Celtics. All 4?
No.
I thought
they didn't play the Bucks.
I think 3 times.
It's the Bucks.
They've taken down the Bucks 3 times.
I'm saying 4.
They've taken down the Celtics. They lost to the Bucks once. They played them 4 times already.
They played them 4
times.
They
beat them twice just now. Yeah, they beat them. They beat them twice back to back. They beat the Celtics. They've split with the Sixers. So they have some. They've got some. Some big wins on their resume.
It's interesting, John.
Here.
I think it's a good
especially because those 2. Oh, sorry, real quick, Bobby. Huh? Those 2 wins against the Bucks. Not only did they come after the in-season tournament, but it was that 2-game series that we were talking about where they were able to pull that off, and one in Milwaukee and one in Indianapolis. It's impressive.
Yeah, what were you saying?
Yeah, sorry,
Bobby.
It's an interesting comparison. I obviously like the match to start this year, but severe offensive limitations. Celtics obviously an offensive team, and the Pacers can execute right there with them and control the pace of the game. So I think that makes them a lot more daunting, especially if Porzingis is out as he was in the last game there. So I do think that this is going to be a highly contested miniseries here. But as you mentioned, John, if they come in with a level of focus and respect for them based on how last game went, when the Celtics have played with that level of focus and execution, they've been unstoppable. And they're now ripping off game after game after game of scoring 120 themselves. And some of that's turning defense and offense. Some of that's great offensive execution here. And as you mentioned, Sherrod, just no defense on that Indiana side. I thought that would matter last time. It didn't. The game just got way too sped up, and Celtics didn't have that post-finishing option to consistently beat the mismatches out there. So this is going to be a split series, I think. I think one team will take each, and the Pacers will stay in that mix. I mean, it feels like these 2 teams could be on a collision course for a playoff matchup later down the line, but that Pacers team continues to be extremely reliant on Halliburton. So he's got to stay healthy.
It's fun, and it is. Yeah,
he's got to stay.
Yeah, it is 4-1 against the Bucks. They've corrected me in the chat here, but yes.
What was that, John?
What are we sorry about?
John's like, this isn't going to go over well.
What are you sorry about? You were wrong.
Jimmy. Don't overplay your hand. Don't overplay your hand, Jimmy.
It's 4 losses. You guys just refuse to believe me on that one.
John, I'm guessing, but I think Jimmy put it on. I think that was true.
Was that the one thing Jimmy listened to this show? He say 3 wins.
He's been thinking about that for a while.
My dog.
This is me all show.
Facts, my
Dude, all show.
Facts, my dog.
I'm coming at you all show. Woo!
I'm so happy Jimmy was actually paying attention. That was awesome.
Yeah. Get used to it. I'm back.
I'm back and I'm focused, but I won't be on tomorrow. See you guys later. Yeah. Please tip your waitress. Yeah. Facts, dog. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. We're back tomorrow. Some of the crew, serious people, will be here tomorrow.
Facts, my dog.
Yeah. And then back on Monday, which is great.
This is
Monday.
Welcome.
Monday could be one of the most interesting days in Boston sports, in recent Boston sports history. When we're talking about, doing that Pacers game, that could be the final day of Bill Belichick, which will be really interesting. We'll see what happens there.
You think he's gonna get?
I was like, where are you going?
Dirty on Black Monday? I don't think he gets Black Monday treatment.
I'll put it this way. It would not be shocking to me if Bill doesn't even go to the Kraft meeting and just says, I'm out. Gives him the, I quit as HC of the NEP, like he did with the Jets, and that's it.
Damn.
You don't think he'd give a quick speech, though? No.
But
I think
so. Like the old, like, you're
cool,
that kind of thing. Just address everyone.
F you.
Today, Bill Belichick canceled his press conference, and he did a Zoom. And 2 reasons to do that. One, you control it and you can pick and choose, and you never have to let Bobby ask a question.
Yeah, I see your hand up, Bobby, but no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. No,
ruins it for the
you don't
TV
have to
cameras.
do follow-up. You don't have to do follow-ups. Oh, Abby Chin, 7th question for you. Go. Meaning like you can pick and choose who you send it to. But number 2, I actually think Bill might have gotten emotional because Friday is normally his like fireside chat with reporters.
That was Trag's big day.
There would have been like there would have been some softness and some sensitivity there. And I think a lot of reporters were probably going down there like, I actually kind of want to soak in like nice, happy, calm Friday Bill for the last time maybe ever. And then they pulled the plug, on it and didn't do the presser. So I'm wondering why that
Bill
was.
wasn't going to entertain those questions probably, and he didn't want to deal with them.
He didn't want to deal with it.
But I think he might have gotten emotional. I think there's part of him. He's like, this might be the last.
Bill,
wait, no, wait. You're saying you think he was afraid to get emotional on camera, or you're saying like he just?
I think it
already hit him.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
We need Taylor.
That's the last thing Bill would ever want. Like to be.
I'm just saying.
To have that clip out there and like play it over.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Can you imagine, Bill?
There's been a lot of like whispers now that maybe he will come back for one more. Maybe they will let him do this or do that.
Yeah.
So really, I'm
definitely gonna power down. Yeah.
What is that? What does that mean?
I'm just gonna blink out in a minute.
Oh.
I'm not
That's
plugged
fine.
in. Yeah.
Peace out to you. I don't really.
Jimmy's on some ish today.
Right? I thought it was just.
Is that a promise? Is that a promise, or are you just threatening us?
He is feeling himself.
I'm staying here, and I'm not blinking.
Jimmy's trying to update his.
When you freeze, we're just stuck with that.
Yeah, we'll do the Josue freeze.
That hasn't happened in months. Stop.
Well,
no, that was the time.
What are you talking?
Oh man, see,
you and Taylor.
I should have. That's exactly what back then. I should have said, you know what, guys, this thing's about to turn off soon. Otherwise,
well, John, you and Taylor will be live, I'm sure, on Monday if something big goes down.
Oh yeah, all day.
I might have to pop on
all day. Oh yeah, give a little eulogy.
No.
Give some words?
Belichick's done. Jimmy's definitely hopping on.
No, I've said my piece. I've already said my piece. I think it's time. I do think it's time. This team is in complete shambles, and I just
Josue's Wi-Fi is like those Midwestern tornado towns, with the sign like 4 days without Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
and then you go by 1 day later and it's 0 days, without a Wi-Fi meltdown, without a tornado.
I'm thinking about maybe going to
You
the
got a
game
streak
on
going.
Sunday. I might go to the game Sunday.
I'm going Sunday. Yeah, I'll be there. All right, we are gonna wrap though, because I'm gonna power down. We're at the hour 30 mark.
It's only
almost, so
11
thank you
o'clock. I
guys.
love those 7 o'clock games.
We love them. We'll see you guys tomorrow. It should be a ton of fun. We're excited to watch this one. So after tonight, this was a brutal game. So I'm thrilled to watch what goes down tomorrow. We'll be back here for another Garden Report. We hope you guys join us as well. Thank you guys for hanging out.
Peace.
And we